For today's video, I'm going to show you how we built this building behind us from the ground up, this shed, workshop, studio kind of structure thing. So check out today's video. For today's backyard adventure, I am super excited to show you how we built this thing behind me. If you had a chance to go back and watch part one, it shows you a little bit of what we had here before and what led us to wanting to build what this became. We didn't fully know what this was going to look like. So this is actually two exterior buildings side by side. We have the 20 by 20 studio with attic trusses and space up there right behind me. This is like my wife's studio. That's what we're kind of calling it. And this was kind of the first big part we started, but at the same time we knew we were going to build a second structure that was going to be for workshop, kind of some of the messy things, the cutting, the woodworking, those sort of things, painting, getting some air circulation, along with a shed that, while it might be close to 20 by 20, we're like, let's shrink it up a little bit just to kind of build some, just to kind of mix up the dimensions of the two structures. So I'm going to walk you through kind of from the foundation of here to framing this thing out, to knocking down the old shed, pouring a second foundation for that structure and the stairs up here, and then eventually framing it out, putting the roof on, and that sort of thing. So watch today's video. I think it'll be useful. If you have any questions, put it in the comments there. I'll get back to that as soon as possible. I'd love to kind of tell you more about how I did this, and hopefully it'll help you. In fact, the way I got this thing going was I would get up in the morning, early riser, turn on YouTube, watch a few things of what do I need to build today, or what do I need to figure out, and then I would go do it. There's no blueprint for this overall structure. It was done on paper, in the head, kind of just watching YouTube, and it just evolved. So I'm going to start with these first couple, I'm going to have some photos that I'm going to kind of run through, kind of like a slideshow. I'll give you a little narration, and this will show you kind of how we went and took the first foundation, started building this structure, building it up, and then we used the other shed for a while for storing tools, keeping things dry and secure while we were building this. And then as soon as this thing was built, we moved all the stuff over, we knocked down that old shed, and we built the foundation for that. And then also these stairs here behind me. So we went through that, and you'll kind of see through some pictures and video how this thing went up, and hopefully it'll be useful for you. So thanks for joining me. Check out these photos. All right, we got a few shots of just the first part of the pour. This is from part one video. You can watch back on the YouTube channel, but you can see here the 20 by 20 with 12-inch footings, stem walls there. So a little overkill, but that's what we put in. And then we got for extra support, just that beam that goes across that we built in with a support there in the middle. And then the crawl space we were digging out, it's still unfinished under that structure, but we're like, oh, let's build something, and it can be a future root cellar or something. All right, this is the 20 by 20 shop. Before we put in the flooring, we'll walk through. All right, moving over to where the shed currently is, and there's gonna be the new shed. That's the first third of it. This will be eventually a concrete pad. And then you can see here, just the walls are starting to go up. These are 10-foot walls. We want to go ahead and maximize our space in there for my wife and any storage or situations we might have down the road. So working out pretty good so far. We're done with the framing of the walls, ready to sheet and do the trusses. You can see the windows there. There's 3 windows on that side, a couple windows and a big set of French doors, extra tall here. We've got 10-foot walls. The door out to where I'm going to have my future shed over there. Coming down, that's there's a story behind that place. I don't know if you can see it, but we spent an extra week or two digging that out. All right, and then coming around the back side, there's that door to what will be the future kind of covered patio work area leading into where the garden shed is. So this is actually where the first third of the shed is going to be. That shed will go away. And this will be a covered concrete kind of a work storage outdoor area, so more messy things can be done out here. And then eventually the trusses, which are way back here. If you look back in the back by the fence, some attic trusses. Those attic trusses were actually sort of recycled. We found a guy that had those available. He had bought them or gotten them for a building he was going to build and never got to it. So we had enough to use for our structure. Although we had to build end walls, we had enough to kind of go through there and work on our staircase. We had to double up where the staircase was, with just the width that we were going to have. But we matched the end walls with 2x6s to keep going with, you can see here, keep going with the trusses. And put a window on each end so we'd have some ventilation and light up in the attic during the summer months. And once we got the hang of the first couple, it went pretty quick, but we'd, you know, call the kids up, like, hey, we need a couple people to help lift these up and hold them in place, put a ladder on each end, stabilize it, and then it took a little while to put that, to get it all connected, and then we'd go to the next one. So over the course of a couple days, we got that thing put up there. Probably the most challenging part were those end walls, making sure that they matched and were nice and sturdy for what we were going to be using. And then we went right to work on sheeting. So went ahead with plywood. This was before all the crazy COVID prices knocked the price of plywood up, and then almost immediately after that the prices shot up. So got in just in time, but have several windows that will be here. We haven't cut them out yet. We just kind of left those sheets there, and I was going to cut those out later once we got a little bit more dried in and ready to go. The skylights, we ordered a couple skylights, but those came in a little late, so had to put a tarp up there, some black plastic. But you can see the inside here is where sheeting. No stairs yet, so we had to use the ladders to get up there, and then eventually that's where the staircase was going to go, which my wife and her stepdad built. So maybe we'll have a future video on how they built those stairs. That was kind of a fun process to watch. And then here's a shot from the attic with just the floor sheeted over. Wanted to get it kind of wrapped up for weather, and then the plan was we're going to take this and put all of our stuff from the shed in here while we built the new shed. So we're going to kind of switch over to phase 2 in just a moment, but this is ready for tool. So we cleared it out, moved everything into the shed, and then started tearing this structure down. Got a Sawzall and cut the face off. You're going to see here in just a moment. Here it is. And so cut the whole side of that floor and then just started pushing, rocking. Not sure what would happen, but we're like, oh, let's do it this way. It's faster. And wait for it. Here it comes. I think. Yes, it wants to go. Yeah, smack. So I think I did this in 3 or 4 different chunks to take this to the dump, but there's my trophy. Got that cleared out of there real quick so we could work on the monolith foundation. So a little different style of foundation for this part. Again, 2 separate structures, but wanted to have a nice concrete slab floor for the workshop and then the shed. And so had some hog panels and a lot of rebar, put that in there, and then you can see here this this pad that was the extra concrete from the first pour. We knew where that was going to go, so we were able to kind of put this L-shape concrete pad and those staircases in. So concrete day came and called up my son's friends and my dad and my wife's stepdad, and we got to work. It was a hairy process, but it worked out. And then here we got the concrete pad all poured. You can see the old one mixed in with the new one, and some utilities that will become part of the wall for the shed. So we'll have kind of this broken up into 2 parts. There's that staircase going into the 20 by 20 studio for my wife. We're going to be kind of using that as a shared space in between those 2 buildings. And then we also had enough extra concrete for some stairs on the opposite side of the building where my wife's studio is, as well as in that crawl space. So once this was done, we went to work again, and I started doing the walls. This one we're doing 8-foot walls. And again, we need to build this as a separate structure from the other one. So we didn't want this having to rely on the building next door to hold it together. Kind of wanted to follow as much as possible the county codes and laws. So this is being built as a second structure, but it just happens to meet up with kind of the side of the other one. A lot of windows here in the front, including we're going to put some skylights in a little while. You'll see that in the pictures, but want to have a lot of light for possible greenhouse growing on that side of the shed, and then the back side will be more for storage and tools and things. And then there's that open area we're going to use for wood cutting and painting and different things where we need a little more air circulation and messiness. And lots of storage in that upper area. I think that's like 4 foot, 4.5 foot That might have been 5. I don't know. It's, I can't quite stand up in there, but a lot of storage. One side is open storage, one side is part of the shed and insulated storage. And so didn't use trusses on this part. Kind of built this. Found another video on YouTube and was like, okay, well, I'll build the roof this way. So used some of the 2x6s we had and threw a roof on there. You can see the structure starting to come together. There's those large areas for the windows. I love the, now that it's all done, that was one thing I'm so glad we did, is put all those windows in. And got it roofed and ready for winter time. So at this point, I can't remember, this is probably getting close to September, and knew the weather was going to be changing soon, so we wanted to get it all sealed up and possibly painted before the first rains came, because here in the Seattle area, once it starts raining, it rains through the winter quite a bit. And so sealed it up knowing we could finish this inside part later, and there'll be a future video I'll show you on how we finish that workshop. But kind of come in here, this is where the shed's going to be, and got this finished off with insulation and plywood, and then eventually we're going to insulate that ceiling there. We got the hardy planks on the siding, and I got it painted up. I think the day after we painted the blue on there, the rains came, so we had a little bit of touch up to do once the things dried up, but kind of a cool looking structure. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and there'll be some future videos on parts of this this overall superstructure. But if you like it, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll have more videos coming soon. And thanks for your time, and hopefully this will inspire you to go out and build something in your backyard.